Hello there. Good evening to you, to everyone watching this evening. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin, back with another check of the First Alert forecast. Still a lot of weather to talk about. We'll start with overnight tonight into our Monday. First Alert again Monday. First Alert again Tuesday, with scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Actually, could be on the stormy side as a weak little cool front, a boundary, moves into North Georgia, really much of the mid-south, the southeast. And while you may not want rain and storms in your Monday and Tuesday forecast, it could impact some of the plans. That same front will also help lift now a tropical storm in the western Caribbean, Idalia, off to the north, eventually becoming a hurricane, and could actually protect us from some of the more significant weather impacts. We'll go through the ropes here, talk about the possibilities, because there definitely is still a lot of uncertainty in that work week forecast regarding especially the midweek portion of the 7-day forecast. Again, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. I'm going to give folks a few minutes to tune in before diving into the really specific details and laying out the forecast here hour by hour. If you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, Atlanta News First on YouTube is the place to be. Again, we're streaming live like we were at 4:30, atlantanewsfirst.com, and the First Alert Weather app. Atlanta News First app, Roku, Amazon Fire. But if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, YouTube is kind of the account to be on. Can't see it here, but I am monitoring the monitor over here. Rhonda, hello to you. Hello, thanks for watching. Let me know where you're watching from, Rhonda, and maybe I can give you a local forecast if you are outside of North Georgia. And if you do have any weather questions, comments, concerns, no matter where you're watching from, again, give me a holler, and I'll be looking back over at the monitor here every so often. Live outside right now, Centennial Olympic Park. Those building clouds in the distance. We did have a few showers and thunderstorms bubbling up inside I-285. Did once again briefly pause Tour Championship play at East Lake Golf Club. Once again, lightning a factor. And yesterday, the club missed the rain, got the lightning. Today, the lightning, and you did get a little bit of rain. And we still do have some showers and thunderstorms roaming the area. This evening, we'll bring you to First Alert Radar right now. And we're tracking a few downpours out there, mainly east of the city of Atlanta. Though more recently, southwest side, we have one little storm pulsing up here, kind of along the Heard and Coweta and Carroll County lines, literally just sitting here right on the county lines here. It's from the Whitesburg community back over to Roopville, to the north and east of Central Hatchie, northwest of Noonan, right along US 27. It is pouring, at least occasional thunder and lightning at that particular spot. We'll zoom back out once again. Earlier severe thunderstorm warnings have been allowed to expire. Don't have any effect at the moment. Another area of heavy rain pushing through the Elder community, Greene County, northern Greene County near Woodville, back over towards Madison, Georgia. Earlier downpours have shifted off to the north and to the east. This cluster of rain is tracking towards Enterprise and then Thompson County, Washington, Georgia, outside of our viewing area into the Augusta area. Closest into the metro, right along the Gwinnett County line there, a downpour moving through, occasional thunder and lightning, brief heavy rain, Bethlehem and Weiner, earlier showers weakening. There's still some rain in the area. Lawrenceville, little shower trying to pop up over town, but really just sprinkles at the moment. Far northwest side, earlier shower in Bartow County, still kind of putting along here. To the west of Cartersville, and it'll continue building generally to the east. So if you live in Cartersville, maybe you're spending the day, your Sunday, Lake Allatoona. Little shower on the west side could spread rain into the Lake Ackworth to Cartersville stretch of 75. Can't rule out some thunder and lightning as well. Cleburne County in Alabama, a few little showers. We'll put this back in motion, pushing generally off to the north and to the east, north of Heflin, west of Fruithurst. Continue moving off to the north and east, back towards Cedartown and Bremen, if they hold together. Hour by hour forecast. We're going to keep your rain chance relatively low this evening, but not zero. There probably will be a few showers and thunderstorms bubbling up overnight tonight. That's a live look at Lake Lanier. You can see those distant clouds. 30% chance of rain, few thunderstorms, 9 p.m. So at the start of Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV, there probably will be some showers and thunderstorms roaming the area. I think a bit of a lull, 11, midnight, 1 a.m., maybe 2 a.m., and then some more showers trying to develop. Could even be some brief heavy rain overnight tonight, but hit or miss coverage, 3, 4, 5 a.m., probably not completely dry through the morning commute, but the focus for rain, and it's still not widespread 100% coverage, but I think it will be north of the city of Atlanta. Rhonda saying, it is supposed to come through Florida also? Yeah, absolutely. Florida, a much greater risk of tropical weather impact. Rhonda Skipper asking about Tropical Storm Idalia, forecast to become Hurricane Idalia. We'll get to that portion in just a moment. Jus, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly, saying nothing going to happen. If you're talking about Atlanta, can't completely remove that risk off the table, but you are correct. It is not looking like we are at greatest risk here, but it is worth some attention in the midweek forecast. And we'll get to the specifics in just a moment. Just don't want people to completely forget about it because we can't wholly and completely remove the chance of some inland impacts across portions of North Georgia, but certainly the risk of severe weather is much greater in South Georgia, coastal Georgia, and most so the state of Florida. And we're going to be watching the system generally slowly initially and then very quickly move to the north and northeast. We'll get to that update in just a moment. Steve XNYC saying dark and ugly wheat to begin with. Not too bad out there. We have some showers and thunderstorms roaming the area today. Live look outside, some of those distant clouds. But I think in general, a decent start to the work week, but we will be tracking more in the way of showers and thunderstorms, hence the first alert for tomorrow and Tuesday. We had a first alert today. We had a heat advisory in effect. Temperatures feeling hotter than 105. Also want you to be alert to the possibility of some gustier storms tomorrow into our Tuesday, so early week. Stormier weather pattern returns to North Georgia, Metro Atlanta. Going to be a little bit harder to get the afternoon and evening plans in with more rain and storms around. Don't cancel the plans. Just make sure you have your rain and lightning alerts turned on in the First Alert weather app, just in case. Severe weather alerts turned on as well. We did have a few gusty storms today, and probably even more so in the way of gusty storms tomorrow, possibly into Tuesday. And then First Alert Wednesday, we are watching Tropical Storm Idalia. By that point, it's in the Gulf, and by that point, a hurricane. Forecast to become a Category 2 before making landfall. In fact, I can bring up the latest information. So shifting gears from talking about scattered showers and storms tomorrow to Tuesday to now the tropics. Tropical Storm Idalia still hanging out just south of the Yucatan Channel, has actually moved south from where it was about this time yesterday evening. We have our intermediate advisory. No significant changes. It is moving to the east now, east-northeast at 3. Sustained winds now up just a bit, 45 miles an hour. This is the 8 p.m. intermediate advisory. We got the full advisory, full new track at 5 p.m., and we will get another full advisory and a full new track at 11 p.m. Notice, and I'm going to draw on here to draw emphasis to the line, basically its history of travel. Notice how it was moving to the north, stopped, moved back to the south, and now moving back to the south and east. So it's meandering here in the northwestern Caribbean. It is battling what looks like a little bit of northerly wind shear, maybe wrapping in some drier air from the Yucatan Peninsula. Nonetheless, it is over very warm waters and conditions not that unfavorable for development. They are rather favorable for at least slow and steady strengthening, not just now, but over the next several days. Here is that track forecast to make landfall, most likely along the Big Bend of Florida. This would be late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Of course, this cone indicates just where the center of the storm is most likely to go, but we know, of course, over the past few years, we've seen many examples of this where the impacts, sometimes severe impacts, from a tropical system will extend well beyond that cone of uncertainty. And we could see this cone shift around a little bit. Again, this is kind of an early stage system. It has yet to really wrap up and organize, and while it's still getting itself organized, sometimes you can see the center of circulation get pulled away from where it is currently to underneath new developing thunderstorms, and if the center moves a little bit unexpectedly, that can alter the long-term track. So there is still some uncertainty in the First Alert forecast regarding the exact track, and of course likewise here also the exact intensity of this system as it moves into and through the eastern Gulf of Mexico and eventually the northeast Gulf, and likely to impact the state of Florida directly. And it looks like we have some new comments coming in. We have someone watching from Edgewood. Okay, so here in the city of Atlanta, thanks for tuning in. Yolena Gar, thank you for watching as well. Yeah, we're watching it for you, and I do have a new graphic that I made, and I think it kind of better tells the story, so to speak. So just bear with me. We'll get to that in just a moment, but wanted to set up the scene, let you know what's happening right now before we get to the really specific part of our forecast and potential impacts. So again, zooming back out, this is the latest track. We'll get a new one at 11 p.m. Not expecting any big changes. Really, the uncertainty over the next 24 hours or so, now through early Tuesday morning. Where does the center go? Does it get tugged east a little bit? And if that does happen, does that impact that long-term track? There is still some uncertainty as this storm is getting itself organized. It's not quite organized enough to really follow, with any certainty, a direct forward motion. It's just kind of meandering and getting itself to organize across the far northwestern Caribbean. But by tomorrow night into Tuesday morning, I think it is getting better organized, and it's starting to move in a more kind of coherent way as we get into Tuesday afternoon. Forecast to become a Category 1 hurricane late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. Category 2 hurricane sometime Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning, and forecast to make landfall roughly between Panama City and the Tampa-St. Pete, Tampa Bay area as we get into Wednesday morning. Further east that track goes, an earlier landfall. Further west that track goes, it'll take a little bit longer before it reaches land officially, at least the eye, that center. And then forecast is a tropical storm to push through the coastal empire of Georgia, Midlands, and low country of South Carolina, and then coastal North Carolina and back out to sea. Keep in mind, this is just the center of circulation. We all know rain, wind, that risk of severe weather, including isolated tornadoes, and storm surge or water level rises from the ocean will extend well beyond the center of circulation, especially on the north side. And it could be this particular system, and this is a little bit unusual. We could actually see a pretty pronounced band, perhaps the most widespread torrential rain on the northwest side. So the left front quadrant, which is a little bit different than what typically happens, and there is a reason for that. We'll kind of go back into that now. Again, it's kind of a complicated setup. There's Franklin, a Category 2 out in the southwest Atlantic, not forecast to impact the U.S. directly. And notice storms finally popping up over the southern plains, Texas, where they desperately need the rain and the showers and thunderstorms that we have a first alert for tomorrow and a Tuesday. That's a little front. That front is going to gradually shift off to the south and to the southeast. And here is what is basically going to happen. Again, this front is going to continue pushing south and east. And eventually it's going to help pick up what is now Tropical Storm Idalia and shift it off to the north and east. Eventually north, and then they turn to the north and east. And the timing at which that front pushes through, the strength of that trough or that dip in the jet stream, and the position of Idalia, that'll determine exactly how sharp of a north and east turn this system has, but also that interaction with that front could focus some of the heaviest rain on the northwest side of the system. Again, that's just a possibility. We will have to see how these two interact. The cone of uncertainty, look at Alabama. Right now, not looking like a big threat for Alabama this time. And touch the sun, saying there's a lot of heat in the Gulf. Heat equals fuel for the storm. That is true, but there are many other factors. If it was just based on warm water temperatures, we would always have Category 4 and 5 hurricanes. Thankfully, that is not the case. Dry air entrainment, so how much moisture is in the atmosphere above that water, wind shear, blowing the tops off a storm so that they can't really get organized and wrapped around the center of circulation. Those are two factors right off the bat, two of which that could occasionally have a factor on this system, and hopefully those factors do, because no one wants a strong, powerful hurricane impacting, a populated area. Nonetheless, we'll be watching it for you, and let's go ahead and talk about the 7-day forecast. And again, we're going to go into detail on the forecast the next 7 days coming up in just a little bit on Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV. But time now is 8:35, and we'll bring you back to that 7-day because I think this kind of tells the story of potential impact to North Georgia and how that our risk is not the greatest, but it is going to be something to watch. So hopefully this graphic helps explain that to you. Again, where you see the 2 in that icon spinning, that is Hurricane Idalia's Wednesday morning forecast position from the National Hurricane Center. In red, areas most likely to see direct impacts, and locally some severe impacts, especially the Gulf Coast of Florida. In orange, impact is possible, and in yellow, impact is, to a lesser extent possible. Can't be ruled out. So portions of Alabama, North Georgia, upstate of South Carolina, the Piedmont of North Carolina can't completely remove that risk off the table yet, but definitely by and large, the chance of seeing tropical weather impacts much greater across the coastal empire of Georgia, coastal Georgia, South Georgia, portions of the Panhandle of Florida, the Big Bend of Florida, Tampa, St. Pete, Orlando, Jacksonville, the Space Coast, Palm Coast, that portion of Florida more likely to be directly impacted by what will be a Hurricane Idalia pushing through the northeastern Gulf of Mexico Tuesday into Wednesday for those coastal areas, your greatest impact. If this did take a more western route and we saw more rain and that tornado risk in North Georgia, our greatest impacts would likely be Wednesday. But again, that is not the most likely scenario, and that is why we don't have the greatest chance of seeing the more direct impacts, but it is something to be alert to. First alert, we're going to be watching the trends over the next couple of days, and all we are asking you to do here in the First Alert Weather Center is just keep in touch as well. First Alert Weather app is a great tool to have. Again, we're live streaming many platforms right now, including in the First Alert Weather app, and saying, yep, a lot of things have to happen to form a hurricane, and that is absolutely true. Again, talking to Touch the Sun, that's the avatar commenting from Edgewood right here in Atlanta. So let's talk about ways that you can stay in touch even if you are away from the TV. We know it's a work week. You can't cancel your plans, and we don't suggest canceling your plans through midweek. Just keep an eye on that First Alert forecast. First Alert Weather app, a great tool to have. This is what the home screen looks like. From there, all you have to do is make sure that you click on the radar section at the bottom of the screen. It's one of many options. You have the hourly option, the home screen option, the daily option, and the radar option. Click on radar. I've zoomed out to show Tropical Storm Idalia. From there, you can click on the menu, right-hand side of the screen. It'll pop up more options. And notice how it says overlays and it says tropical tracks. Click on that. That'll plot any tracks that are currently out from the National Hurricane Center. Again, I have this zoomed in on Idalia, but Franklin's track would be there as well if I panned over to the right. And you can zoom in closer and click on each icon to get a time, a forecast strength, and a heading. And of course, you can still see the cone. So a good tool to have, free and easy download. Just search First Alert Weather or Atlanta News First in your app or Google Play Store. And also all of our weather graphics you may notice on Atlanta News First on TV. QR code upper right-hand corner of the screen. You can scan that. I know sometimes it's hard to run over to the TV and get your camera out ready to scan. So you can just search Atlanta News First or First Alert Weather in your app or Google Play Store. So again, to summarize all of that, First Alert, scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms tomorrow and Tuesday, not directly related to Idalia, but a greater chance of rain, a greater likelihood that your plans will be impacted. And then First Alert Wednesday, because that's the day to watch Idalia, and hopefully we can pare that down and bring nice weather back into the forecast, but can't completely remove the chance of some impacts to North Georgia off the table just yet. Full weather forecast coming up here in just a little bit. Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV, 9 p.m. We're back at 10 p.m. New track, new forecast from the Hurricane Center by the time we start the 11 o'clock news at 11 p.m. on WANF Atlanta News First. Have a wonderful evening. Don't be worried about the work week weather. Just know that it will be more impactful compared to last week. And we are watching Tropical Storm Idalia moving through the eastern Gulf of Mexico, forecast to become a hurricane over the next few days. Another place you can get that latest information is at atlantanewsfirst.com. It's the top story right now on the homepage. More details also in the First Alert Weather app.